Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knife to Go quick look product review, and on the table this time is the Kohetsu VG5 Tsuchime Gyuto 240mm knife. The core steel on this is VG5 full stainless steel. Heat treat rating's about 60 Rockwell, so not too hard, not too soft, kind of middle of the road heat treat. The construction is a 3-layer sandwich with a softer stainless steel cladding on either side of that core steel. I'll see if I can show it to you in the video, but the cladding line is very faint even in person, so it's going to be hard to see on video, but it's definitely there. So it's an all stainless blade. As you can kind of see from this texture, it's fairly polished, so it's going to be kind of reflective here with my lighting, but the Tsuchime refers to a hammered or pebble finish, so it's got a light hammering texture to it, not too deep, but it is there and adds some interest texture to the blade cladding, so it's kind of a cool look. The weight on this is 7.8 ounces or 221 grams. The edge length is right on 240 on the money, and these should all be pretty close to each other, different samples, not vary a lot. About 9.5 inches on the edge, and the overall length is about 14.7 inches. The spine thickness at the heel is 2.2 millimeters on this one, and again, these should all be pretty close to that. And not a lot of taper till you get to the very end, so pretty much hold that thickness all the way throughout till you get about the last inch or so, where we thin out with the grind. And then the very, very tip itself is pretty thin, not overly thin, so you still got a little meat there, but pretty good balance of thinness, some durability, plus some performance. So pretty good balance there. The blade height is 49.1 millimeters, so kind of in the wheelhouse for a good 240 standard size. And then let's see here, while we got it on the board, let's look at the balance point on this. So it's a Western handle, so the balance point's going to be not too far forward, about right there, which brings my pinch grip just a little in front of that. So you get, with a pinch grip, you get just a little bit of handle bias on the weight balance point, a little bit towards the handle, but not a whole lot. And then, of course, if you have a racket grip, that'll bring it down to a little bit in front of your hand. So a little bit like a Western knife. Maybe a little more weight forward bias than a standard Western handle knife that we might be used to, like a European knife. So here's what the blade looks like. You've got some screened on kanji here on the right side of the blade. The left side of the blade is plain, meaning no kanji or engravings. It's pretty standard on the Kohetsus where they've got a polished area you'll see on the right side of the blade, which means the right side as you hold it, cutting things. The polish is basically a thinning where they contour the shaping down to the edge for performance, and they tend to polish that. The left side of the blade doesn't do that as much as the right side, and that's pretty standard for the Kohetsu line. Even, various different steels and stuff, they pretty much all do that. So on the right side of the blade, you'll have a lot more heavily thinned or convexed area, and on the left side of the blade, you'll have more towards the tip, maybe a little bit towards the heel, where they feel it's necessary to do that. I'm a lefty, I have no problems handling these as far as like grind bias lefty or righty. I think they're pretty neutral, at least feel-wise, at least the ones I've handled. So you can see the core steel coming out there. The polished area kind of hides that a little bit. It's a little hard to show, but it's there, the cladding line. Fit and finish is really nice on the handle. It's a black Packawood handle, which is a stabilized wood product, and nice fit and finish on the tang, the rivets, the bolster. The handle's just kind of a standard size for a 240 in a Western that I've seen in a lot of Japanese knives. And you've got a more angular handle where it's not super rounded and contoured, so it's definitely not uncomfortable at all. It's just a little more angled than some of the brands of knives do with their Western or Yo handles. Cool looking bolster, the way they've angled that and oriented just the design of the bolster is cool. So fit and finish is nice on the spine and also the choil, so ready to go out of the box. This has a really good 6, maybe even 7 out of 10 edge on it. It's a solidly done sharp edge on the knife. And let's see, let's look at the cutting board profile. The cladding adds to a little bit of stiffness, I think. So this is a fairly stiff blade despite how thin it is. So it's not super rigid, but for the thickness of the blade, it's pretty stout, I think, pretty stiff. Here's your profile. Real smooth profile. This has a pretty good flat spot towards the back, about right there. You've got a little bit of a back belly towards the heel so it doesn't slam into a heel. But you got a pretty generous flat spot towards the back area of the blade. And then a low curve or belly, and then a little bit more belly towards the very tip, so that means you can get a little bit higher on a rock. All these ones, they've done a nice job with a little more belly towards the very tip, so you can get some height on the rocking. So this will make a really nice rocker. Nice pull, push, glide cut type, guillotine and glide type cutting motions, as well as a little bit of flat area towards the back for chopping. So this is a pretty good general purpose profile in my opinion. Really nicely done, very smooth on the board. So this is a nice line Mark has brought in. So this is a new addition to the Kohetsu line, as of this video anyway. This is the Kohetsu VG5 full stainless Tsuchime or hammered Gyuto 240mm knife.